Hello, I'm Fernanda Smith with Keller Williams, and I have several years of experience working with international investors. I am based in the Orlando, Florida, where the magic begins. On this tutorial, I'm going to take you step by step through the buying process, but I'm also going to provide you with lots of information that you must know after you make the purchase. So stay tuned all the way to the end.
Right.
So let's begin. As an international investor, you're allowed to buy a residential property under your legal name or an LLC or a corporation. If you use your legal name, it will have to match your passport. If you have several names and several last names, you have to be able to use them all. You can also make the purchase under an LLC or a corporation. If you would like to do that and you don't have one, I do work with a great team that will be able to assist you step by step through that process. Now, there are several options to buy real estate in the United States, but on this tutorial, I'm going to focus on the cash option, foreign national loans, and the lease purchase. So let's focus on the cash option. With the cash option, it will be required what is called a proof of funds. What is that? It's just a simple bank letter that will contain the bank name, the bank logo, the name of the account, and the balance, preferable in the US currency. This letter will be utilized to present an offer and to demonstrate the seller that you are able, willing, and ready to make the purchase. With the foreign national loans, there are several lenders in the United States that will work with many countries around the world. Yes, you heard me right. I did say many countries. I did not say every country around the world. With the foreign national loans, here are some of the documents that a lender may require in order for them to start the process. This process will take about 60 days and typically will require between a 30 to 50% down, and you will be financing the rest. It's a great deal. Lease purchase is basically an agreement between the buyer and the seller, and a real estate attorney will need to get involved. Now, this option is not as popular, and here is why. Typically, a seller wants to sell a property, wants to obtain their money at closing right away. They don't want to have to wait, right? With this option, they will have to wait to get the money. And here is, let me give you an example of what a lease purchase may look like. And this is just an example. The seller may say, I would like $5,000 or $10,000 up front. It could be more. I will lease the property for the next 2 to 5 years back to you, and then you will need to close the deal, meaning you will have to come up with all the fundings. Now, in some instances, it may help individuals that they may have some assets tied up and they need the extra time to liquidate them. But I keep in mind, at the end of the term, you will need to collect all the fundings to make the purchase. Number 3, the realtor. That will be me, hire me. It is so important as an international investor to work with a great team that will assist you through the entire process successfully. One thing that I will ask, and I will need to find out in regards to the process is what type of residential properties are you interested in buying? Is it a condominium? Is it a villa, a townhome, a single family home? Is it a new construction? And among all of them, are you going to use it as a vacation home or a rental? If you do use it as a rental, is it going to be for short-term rental, meaning you're going to lease the property to tourists and vacationers? Or long-term rental which is going to be rented out to locals for a more longer term. Once we identify the property, I will seek for some properties. I will send it over to you. You will pick one that you love, that you like to buy, and then we submit an offer, or either with the proof of funds if you're buying it cash, or the pre-approval letter if you're buying through a foreign national loan. As soon as the offer gets fully accepted, meaning that they accept all the terms and contingencies, the seller will sign. You already signed the offer, and when it gets fully signed, it becomes a fully executed contract. As soon as it gets delivered to you, you are under contract. And that is your first celebration to be one step closer to own a piece of America. Immediately after you are under contract, we go into number 4, escrow. It's also known as a deposit. And for you to better understand, if you're buying it cash, typically it's about 10% of the sales price. But let me give you a couple of examples so you can better understand how the escrow works. The first one that we are going to go is the one in black. It is a cash transaction. Sales price is $300,000. 10% of $300,000 is $30,000. So you will be wiring at the time of the under contract at $30,000. Now, at closing, you will have to wire $270,000 to complete the $300,000 for the purchase price, plus about 2% towards the closing costs. Now let's move on into the next example, the one in blue. That is a finance with the foreign national loans with a 40% down. Sales price $300,000. Escrow, let's utilize $30,000. At closing, because you are using a 40% down, it will be the remainder in $90,000. That will be equal to $120,000, which is again the 40% of that loan. In addition, you will need to wire about 6% towards the closing costs, and then your lender, the one that is giving you the foreign national loan, will wire the remainder of $180,000 to complete the purchase price. Yes, you heard me right. I did say 6% towards the closing costs. You may ask yourself, why is that difference? Why it went from a 2% in the cash transaction to a 6% on a financing option? Well, here is why. The difference is what you will need to pay to the lender that is giving you the financing. So now you know. Now we are going into number 5, which is home inspections. I must tell you that there are several types of home inspections, but on this tutorial I'm going to focus on what I consider the 3 most popular ones: the general home inspections, the wind mitigation, and the WDO. So let's talk a little bit about the general home inspection. Like I mentioned earlier, I work with a great team where you can find Florida certified home inspectors that you will be able to hire from and do your home inspections. The inspector will go into the property and will inspect everything that is feasible to them to be inspected, from electrical, plumbing, roof, windows, appliances, floorings, you name it. You will receive a report with beautiful pictures and everything that is going to tell you what is working and what is not working. So you will know exactly in what conditions the property is. With the wind mitigation, this type of inspection is usually required by a homeowner's insurance. The inspector will go into the property and determine the appropriateness of a given strong winds, usually found in hurricanes. And again, is usually requested by homeowners insurance. You also will receive a separate report that will give you that outcome. And lastly, but not least, is the WDO. It's also known as the termite inspection. The inspector will go into the property, not just on the inside, but also surrounding the property, and will check for any infestations that they may have in regards to termites and things like that nature. And you will also get a report with that outcome. Number 6, an appraisal. Okay, if you are buying the property under a foreign national loan, this will be a must. It will be required. No lender will give you the final approval without an appraisal done. Basically, the appraiser will go into the property, will check few things in regards to the conditions of the property that may be required by the foreign national loan, but most importantly as well, they will provide you with the value of that property. The outcome, it will have to be right on where the contract is or above. If it's below to what the contract is, you will have to go into the seller into negotiations, and the seller will need to understand that the lender will not give you the final loan approval if the if the property is not right on the appraisal outcome. Number 7, a land survey. If you're buying a property that is sitting on a piece of land or a lot, you will need to hire a land surveyor. The surveyor will go into the property, will take all the proper measurements and the perimeters of that lot and the land, and will provide you with a plat map with all that information, all the specifics on the land, on the piece of land that you are buying. So it's a great thing to have. Number 8, homeowners insurance. Well, we are getting very close to the closing time, and this is the time to get some quotes on homeowners insurance. Now, as a cash buyer, you are not required to have one, but don't you want to have peace of mind? The homeowners insurance not only will protect you from the typical, the fire or hurricane, even if a water heater may break down and the property will get flooding. If you're planning to utilize this property as an investment or as a rental, regardless if it's going to use as a short term or long term, don't you want to be protected from some liabilities? It's something to think about it, but I think it's an expense that I will definitely consider having. There is nothing that that I will not be enough protected from. So now let me say that I had my rentals for many years, for 15 years, and I never have to use a homeowner's insurance, but I always have them just in case. And we reached to closing time, and it's time to celebrate because now you own that piece of America. And if you were working with me, I will congratulate you and you will congratulate me because we reached to this very moment that you own that property and now is yours. And here are the things that you must know after you make the purchase. Number 9, property management. Hopefully they will become your best friends. You should hire a professional and reliable property management that will manage all your rental experience, meaning if you don't have a tenant in place, they will search for one, they will market the property, they will collect the rent, the rental income, they will take care of all the repairs, but most importantly, they are going to send you your rental income. So, I do work with a great team that I will be able to refer you, great property managements that will be able to assist you through that process. Number 10, bank account in the USA. I cannot tell you how many times I have been asked this question. Do I need to have a checking account in the USA at the time of purchase or thereafter? And the answer is no, you don't. But I will strongly recommend that if you are able to get it, to obtain a checking account in the USA, to do so. And here is why. Even though the property management more likely will make all the payments in regards to your property on your behalf, and of course with the either rental income from you or your money, of course, they are going to be wiring you your rental income. And one thing, it will be to the property management to wire money to you from a domestic bank to a domestic bank where the bank fees are not so high. And the other will be to wire money from a local bank to an international bank. The bank fees are going to be a little bit higher. So you can save some money by doing this if you don't have a bank account in the USA. And this is like a gift from me to you. It's a suggestion. At the time, when the time comes, you will make your own decisions. But you can ask the property management that instead of be wiring you your rental income on a monthly basis to do it on a quarterly basis. And in that way, you could potentially save some bank fees. Number 11, property taxes. Well, each property has their own property taxes. Keep in mind the property taxes are a variable cost. What do I mean with that? Well, the property taxes are calculated by the county wherever the property is located at. They evaluate this on a yearly basis. So therefore, the property taxes can go up, stay the same, or come down. And people may come to you and say, oh, they will never come down. No, my rentals have gone up, has stayed the same, and has come down in pricing. So what the current property taxes are today, it may not necessarily be exactly the same the following year. So keep that in mind. Property taxes are paid on a yearly basis. Typically, the bill comes in November for the whole year. Anyone in the world can make the payments on your behalf. What do I mean? Yes. Your mother, your brother, your sister, sometimes even the property management, they can pay the taxes on your property as long as you provide them with all the specifics on your property. You don't want anyone else, or you for that matters, to pay someone else's property taxes. So again, you can ask the property management to see if they can pay the property taxes on your behalf. And many of them, the ones that I work with, they will do that as long as, of course, they receive the money from you. So that will be one less thing that you will not need to work, okay? But this has to be paid every year. Number 12, Homeowners Association, also known as the HOA. The majority of the properties located in my area, at least, they do have an HOA. Typically, it's a third-party company that will manage the community where the property is located at. And they do have rules and regulations where the owners, their tenants, and their visitors will need to follow. In addition, in many instances, like on a condominium, townhomes, and villas, the the HOA will include the building insurance and the roof. What does that mean? Well, in case of a fire or something happened with the exterior of the property, they will be protected by their building insurance. But anything again from the walls in and from the roof down, it will be your responsibility. So again, it's very important to have that homeowner's insurance. It has to be protected on. In addition, the HOAs will disclose if the community allows rentals, period. Some they don't at all. Some they may allow only long-term rentals, some short-term, some short and long-term, etc., etc. Too much information, and this is why you need to have a realtor, so they will find you the right property for you, so you don't have to worry about any of that, okay? In addition, the HOAs are also a variable cost. And I had my rentals, and the HOAs has gone up a bit. They have come down, and they have stayed the same in the cost for many years to come. So whomever says that the HOAs can never come down, it's not true. They have come down on my rentals, and so it can happen. So, but at least it will give you a guidance when at the time of purchase and what the HOAs are. Now, usually for the most part, they may remain pretty close to the pricing or the cost that they have at the time of purchase. But keep that in mind. And number 13, tax ID or IT number. Remember on the very first slide when I said that you can make the purchase under your legal name? Well, if you do that, if you don't use a tax ID through an LLC or corporation, you will need to apply for what is called an ITIN number, which is an individual taxpayer identification number that is actually recognized by the IRS, also known as Internal Revenue Service. You can go directly into irs.gov and fill it out the form and apply, but you won't be able to do that until you actually own a property, and that property will be utilized as a rental. That means that you will be receiving some sort of income. If you don't receive income from the property, more likely you do not need to have that number. But if you are going to utilize it as a rental, you will need to apply for one. And again, I do work with great tax accountant that will be able to assist you through that process if you wanted to. But it's very important that you apply for that, because if you're using this property as a rental, where you are going to get again income, you will need to file your taxes starting the subsequent year after you make the purchase. And therefore, you will need to save every receipt from every expense that you have on your property, as well as to save the copy of the lease. You will be declaring to the IRS your income plus your expenses. But don't get frustrated or worrisome because again, the tax accountant will do that on your behalf. Let me tell you a story. A while back ago, I did receive a call from a seller who lived in Africa. He wanted me to sell one of his properties. And the first question I asked, it was, do you have an ITIN number or tax ID? Yes. Have you been paying your property taxes on a yearly basis? Yes. Have you filed your taxes on a yearly basis? Yes, yes. Well, the long story ended up being that after further investigating, he thought that paying taxes and filing taxes was exactly the same thing. Taxes and taxes, you see what I'm coming, the confusion? Well, it is not. So it's very important you do understand that you need to pay property taxes, as I mentioned earlier, but you also will need to file your taxes starting on the subsequent year, where you will be disclosing your income plus your expenses. And again, a tax accountant will assist you with that. So I hope all of this is very clear to you. But you did it. You made it through. I hope this was a very learning curve for you. I hope you learned something. I hope this give you the idea on the buying process. If you buy it cash, it's a little bit simpler. If you buy it with foreign national loans, it takes a little bit, but that's why the realtors are for, to assist you every step of the way. So if you love it, if you like it, this is the time to please subscribe into my channel. Help me to reach my first 1,000 members. If you didn't like it, don't do anything, okay? So if you do like for me to do any type of tutorials with any other subjects that you may be interested on, please write on the comments and I'll see what I can do. I would love to hear from you. And until the next time, I'm Fernanda Smith with Keller Williams. I hope I see you soon.